Levels are good. Levels are good. Oh, man. What's up, Howard? Appreciate you for stopping in, man. Glad YouTube gave you the notification. Appreciate you. Hope all is good with you. Just pulling up a couple things, and I'm just gonna get started. All right. Turn my body. I'm unmuting now. Okay. All right. Yeah, what's good, Howard, man? Good to see you, man. Always appreciate you always checking in on me on the back end, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm gonna get started. Well, hello there. Are you new? The name it's not familiar. Let me see who you are. Maybe I'll go follow you back. If you're not subbed, yeah, sub up. Okay. Either way, welcome in, Jacqueline. All right. Hello. Is it not on? Yeah, I see you, Jackie. I see you. I know Men's Mental Health Month was June, and I was going to do something in June for men. So Mental Health Month is May. June was for men. And I really just kind of backed off of doing this actual live. I really didn't want to do it. I was having trouble emotionally doing it once I was doing this research. And I was trying to figure out a way to do it if I should like to be able to do it justice. That's what I was trying to figure out, how to do it justice. And I didn't want to because it's a touchy subject, and I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, but I am passionate about us taking care of our mental health. So I do want to, the idea for me is to just spark the conversation, get you to, maybe do a little bit more research, of course, consult with professionals, but, and also too, so you're on the lookout in this particular topic, so you could be on the lookout, if you have sons, brothers, nieces, nephews, this is about boys, but if you have, people in your family that you care about that you may not know they're struggling, or you may see that they're struggling, and you may think it's just something that they're going through, maybe a phase, and you kind of just keep it moving, even if they might say they don't want your help, or they might tell you everything's fine, but you know your people well enough to know if somebody is fine, or if they may need a little extra push, a little extra conversation. So that's what this was for me, to just kind of spark the conversation, go over some things that I had, some notes that I had, and then leave the conversation there. I was going to do an upload, like a 10-minute upload. But I decided to just do a live, and hopefully you tune in now, or if you come in on the replay, hopefully if you know somebody that may, that can use this information, or if there's anything in this conversation, anything in this information that I put forward sparks something with you, you can reach out to somebody. You may be like, oh, you know what? I did notice so-and-so wasn't doing too well. So maybe to just kind of spark you to reach out to them. And then maybe, that can help them. If nothing else, I'm just trying to spark a conversation, and then we'll go from there. You can go from there and do with the information which you will. And I want to shout out to it was a couple of people pushed me because they knew that I was talking about this, and I didn't, and they knew that I kind of was like, you know, taking my time with it and possibly not doing it. But it was Last Call, Stephanie Collins, Josephine, and DJ Drama. They actually were like, yeah, nah, just go ahead and do it, man. They kind of gave me that extra push to go ahead and do it because I expressed that I wanted to talk about it. It was something that was interesting to me, something that I'm passionate about, and something I think is important. So I want to give them a shout out for pushing me on this particular topic and pushing me to go ahead and go live and talk about it, or at least put something out. Appreciate y'all for that. It's always good to have people in your corner who may be able to see like a blind spot or just give you that nudge. See, like you might need that little nudge. Even at my age, sometimes I need a nudge. And those 4 people gave me the nudge. So I wanted to thank them for that. Appreciate it. And today I'm going to be talking about the increase in the suicide rate amongst young Black males, and it's up with Black youth in general, but for the young Black males, it is at a rate of, let me pull up here, I had this here, where we at? Okay, so the rate is between this particular group, between the ages of 20 and 24, that is 31.9 per 100,000. So that's the per capita, that the stats that people use. That's usually a metric. It's not the end all be all, but it is a metric that's popularly used. So that's 31.9, basically 32 per 100,000 Black men aged 20 to 24 are dying by suicide. And it's the second leading cause of death in that same group of men. But they extended it. I don't know why they extended it from 15 to 24, but it's the second leading cause in death, which the first leading cause is homicide. And that is, let me see, that was 80 per. So between homicide and suicide, that is a heavy, heavy toll that our young guys are paying. Now, again, you may not have a son, you may have a nephew or a brother or a cousin or somebody in that age range, and they may be struggling. And the tendency for us is to think that they may be going through something, or, you know, he's a man, he'll get out of it, he'll figure his way out of it, or you're a man, figure your way out of it. And the fact that these rates are going up is proof positive that that's not happening. They are not getting over it. They are not pushing through, and they're struggling. And for years, we've talked about, you know, violence, drugs, incarceration, poverty, how it affects young Black men. But this suicide rate is going up, and this is just to add on top of that. So, you know, if you're, the stats are shocking. So if you're a parent, grandparent, a teacher, coach, mentor, you know, these things you may come in direct contact with people, with these young men, because the numbers are going in the wrong direction. Now it's some of the places where you can go. I wrote this down. CDC. So that's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. NIMHA, which is National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH. The Trevor Project has some good research on it, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. So if you are looking to find studies and information that can help you and show you these stats and show you the seriousness of this, those are the places. Again, that's CDC, National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, Trevor Project, and American Academy of Pediatrics. What's good, last call? Always good to see you. I was saying before you got here that between you, Josephine, Stephanie Collins, and DJ Drama, you guys pushed me, gave me the push I needed to do this. And I spoke to you guys, and you guys were like, nah, go ahead and do it. Do it, get up there, do your thing, and put the information out, and then let people do what they will with it. All right. YouTube Unfolded, always good to see you. We was going through it the other night, huh? YouTube Unfolded, man. Oh, you over to the horizontal view? I was on the fence about, I was going to just do one because I know it splits up and it gets a little confusing. I was going to do one, but I decided to do both. I think, maybe I'll do one horizontal. One vertical, and one of these lives. Yeah, man. Yeah. But again, thanks for you guys for pushing me. You know what I mean? You don't have that consistency problem. You don't have that issue. Like, you say you're going to do something, you do it. And, with passion. So just trying to follow your lead, brother. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna just repeat that one more time. CDC, Center of Disease Control and Prevention, National Institute of Mental Health, and NIMH, Trevor Project, and American Academy of Pediatrics. You can go look for information on these stats, the rising numbers in dying by suicide by Black men, young ones in particular. I focused on the young ones in particular in this today, just because I think it's not that as we get older we're not important. We are important, but I think when you talk to my age, the group of people that are usually sub to me and my core audience, they may know somebody at these younger ages, and again, brothers, nephews, cousins, grandkids, yeah. This is them, 20 to 24. And let me look. Is that considered an epidemic? Because if it's an epidemic and we're not talking about it, that's a shame as well. What is considered an epidemic per capita? Let's see. Okay, so just to put in perspective what we're looking at. Now, again, I said it's 32 per 100,000. Give me a minute. All right, sorry about that. Let's see here. So it's 31.9 per 100,000. That is what the rate is of suicide Black men between 20 and 24. So if you, let's see, cases in population normally averages cases 2 per 100,000. A localized jump to 10 cases per 100,000 would constitute an epidemic. This is disease thresholds I'm giving you. So like for like flu-like illnesses, the baseline is between 30 and 200 consultations per 100,000 population, but epidemic 10 per 100,000. So this is 3 times the number that you would consider something an epidemic. That Black men between the ages of 20 and 24 are dying by suicide. So whatever we doing, whatever we telling our boys, whatever we telling our young men, whether we telling them to pray it away or we telling them to, with now is counseling is a little bit more, pushed. You'll get over it. Go to the gym, walk it off. Whatever we telling them, it's not working because the numbers are rising, and the numbers comparative to epidemic proportions. Matter of fact, let me see something. I'm gonna look up something else. I got y'all here. Let's see. Bear with me. Let's see. By numbers. Population. All right, cool. All right, so per. All right. I was trying to look up what they considered a pandemic, and it's telling me they don't use per 100,000. They don't use that for classification. So regional epidemics are occasionally assessed using attack rates like exceeding 15 cases per 100,000 people over 2 weeks for meningococcal infection. So depending on the disease, yeah, I was just trying to get a comparison, but that didn't quite work out. But either way, it is high, and whatever we're doing, it's not working. And these are our young men that are going through our schools, because I mentioned you whether parents, mentors, churches, schools, communities. These are all places that are affected by this, and these are all places that you're going to see our young Black men. And these are places that they are most likely to turn up, and they're going to be struggling. And these groups of people or communities will see them: mentors, parents, churches, schools, and general communities. So we on the lookout, and we want to always promote 988. Do I have a banner here? Because I had the suicide. That's Veterans Crisis. No, I should have. Let me see. Let me do like a little banner here. Let me find something to actually put it across. So, sticker for crisis hotline. Let me see. Let's see what this says here. All right, so I'll do it like that. Copy that. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Little. Thought I was prepared, but stuff is coming to me as I'm sitting here. That's why I like the live. You can. I like the live chat, the live interaction. But let's see. And show. Can I do the? I want to do a ticker. Let me see. How did it? All right. Well, I'll just put that up there. I'll just leave that up there. That's good enough. That's good enough. Again, I missed Men's Mental Health Month. it was last month, and then Mental Health Month was May. This is something that we should be doing year round, and I do like the idea of focusing on it in particular months. But that, I think things like this are important enough to talk about whenever you have the inkling to talk about it, because it's ongoing. Mental health crises don't stop after May and June. They year round. We know that. So yeah, like I said, the numbers are going in the wrong direction, and some of the things that. So I mentioned CDC, NIMH, Trevor Project, American Academy of Pediatrics. These are the studies, focus study groups, and so some of the things that that are roadblocks for these young men are for us hearing man up, telling boys not to cry. Again, like I said, with church, just pray about it, handle it yourself. And if you are somebody who does these things and you still don't have the answers, where does that leave you? So we need to, I'm probably going to say this more than once, but we need to be tapped in to these brothers and create a space for them, even if it's just a conversation. It's just a, hey, how you doing? I noticed that, what I'm saying, you seem a little down the last couple of times I've seen you. Is everything all right? And we know the people we know, especially, your loved ones, your friends and your family, when there's a difference. And if it's something that you see, don't hesitate to ask. It may be the difference between, somebody going to do something, deciding to end their life, or just saying, open up. You may get a flood of emotion and you just wanted to know how they were doing. Sometimes it's that simple, where people want to know that people care about them. So you say, numbers always disproportionate. Yeah. So what do we do? You know what I mean? What do we do? I rock with you last call. If you want, I'll send you the link to the email. I'll send it to your email if you want to come up as I go through this stuff. I know you have a very, very good perspective. And so let me just go overall. Actually, this is probably in my notes, so let me not get there yet. So again, we talked about the stigma. Man up, don't cry, pray about it, handle it yourself. You get discouraged from some of those messages, and especially if it doesn't work, then we have to be doing something else. We have to be trying something else. We have to be providing a safe space, and we have to make it okay for these young brothers to say, I'm not all right. And not, we don't need to shame them if they're struggling. One of the things that I may have fallen into, as a parent or as somebody who's older than maybe somebody younger, then I'm interacting with them, I just fall into my experience and, things that I've been through, and try to do compare it, it ain't as bad, and, when somebody's going through something, they don't want to hear that shit. I know I don't. Somebody going through something, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that shit. If there's a way you can do it, like if you were giving examples and you say, maybe this can work, but if you're just telling them straight up, this is going to work because it worked for me, or it's good enough for me, so it'd be good enough for you. I would say maybe if you can phrase it in a way where it doesn't sound like you're being too preachy, because a lot of messaging get lost when somebody feels like they are being preached to. I know sometimes when I feel like somebody's talking down to me or preaching to me, it's like, I don't want to hear this shit. So, maybe changing the messaging could help, and it'll provide an opportunity for somebody to say, like, oh, you know what, the last call cares about me. He always checking in on me. And maybe you ask him 2 or 3 times, and then the 4th time he may, he may say, you know what, this brother's been asking about me. The YouTube unfolder's been asking questions. She's been checking in on me all this time. Let me let me let her know what's going on, just in case. Let me talk to somebody about something. Again, so tapping back into the research, some of the things that are contributing to the numbers is the trauma, the violence in the community, family instability, grief, police violence, racism, bullying, different childhood experiences, and repeated trauma causes the risk for depression to go up and suicidal thoughts. Again, these going back to the studies from these groups that I'm talking about, right? CDC, NIMH, Trevor Project, American Academy of Pediatrics. Hey, what's up, Joe? I was giving you your flowers as well. I'm giving you last call, Stephanie Collins and DJ Drama, y'all flowers for pushing me to make sure I talked about this, because I had it in my mind to talk about it and I wanted to do a live, and you guys are like, yeah, go ahead and do it. So I was giving you your flowers early, and I appreciate you now that you're here. I appreciate you for, being one of those ones that say, nah, go ahead, do that. Get out there, talk about it. Let the information, let the stream land where it's gonna land, but do it. So I appreciate you, Joe. Oh, very welcome, very welcome, very, very welcome. So like on a bigger scale, hold up, let me do this real quick. Sorry, y'all. I want to email this joint. What's this? Give me a minute. Give me a second. Interested. All right, cool. All right, cool. All right, that is there. I sent it to your email last call. Can you access your email? I didn't want to drop the link necessarily. If anything, I would do it later. But if you want to come up, I sent it to your email for sure. And yeah, if you want to come up, check your email, Playboy. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at the let me get back into it. Let me see if last call gonna come up, and then I'll go back over the first two bullet points, and then let you chime in on that. So with that, I'm gonna take a quick break, run to the bathroom. Y'all hang out, talk amongst yourself, and I'll be right back. All right. Man, it is. Thank you kindly. It is. It's a heat wave, right? And here is air conditioned where I'm at here, even though it's still a little warm. But stepping out of this air conditioned room, hot. All right, so your last call will pop up in a little bit. Last call, I sent it to your email if you're still in the chat. Unless you need me to drop it in the sending it to your email unless you need me to drop it in the chat if you're not available to get to your email. If you are, if I do drop it, it'll just be for you, and that's just a heads up. So yeah, I was talking about some of the things contributing to depression, which leads to okay, you got it now. Okay, cool. I'll wait for you to come up then and talk about this heat wave. It's a heat wave out where I'm at. I don't know where you at in the world, but it is a heat wave, and it's that when they warning you about the air quality. So gotta stay cool. I did go to the gym though. I did go to the gym today. Oh man. And I've been getting it in. I'm back. I'm like back into the gym. Probably going in my third week now. Third week of like really, really being serious about it. Like pushing myself. So let's see where we get. Trying to make that lifestyle change stick. It ebbs and flows, right? And then after you get to a certain age, if you ain't working out hard and eating the way you're supposed to, your body lets you know. Your energy lets you know. All right. So I'm going to go to the next contributor. Keep in mind, these are contributors to potential depression, and then the snowball effect of these things can be contributors to leading to why this suicide rate of these males, 20 to 24 black males, is going up to epidemic numbers. Keep that in mind. We're talking about epidemic numbers. So economic pressure, the household stress, food insecurities, housing instabilities, limited access to mental health care. A lot of jobs have programs now, so I'm not sure if that is something these are things that are like at the forefront, or if these are just, I'm not weighing the contribution that these things make. Okay, here's on me right here. Is that you, bro?
Yes, brother.
Yeah, I authenticated you before you came up anyway, so I knew it was you.
Cool. What's up, man?
Nah, man. I was giving y'all flowers. If you will accept flowers, we in a pause world these days. But if you'll accept your flowers for pushing me and making sure that I stayed on task with this particular topic and content in general.
Oh, definitely, man. Appreciate it. In terms of support, we support each other, man. So, right back at you, man, with that too. And it's good. Thank you for bringing up this topic and to the public and discussing it so that there's more awareness for people out there too, man. So that's very important and very good work of you to go through and do this and have the points for us to consider and discuss as well. So
now, do you want to go back over some of the things and chime in? You want me to just go through some of them and then see if you want to jump in any of those, or you
how many points did we do so far? I think at least 2.
Yeah, I did 2 points. I just actually tapped in onto the economic pressure, which was the third point. But I literally just was saying it when it gave me the notification that you was in the back, so I can.
All right, let's back up and do the 2 there. See if I got anything, because I had some thoughts as you were going through the information.
Yep. So the stigma, first of all, growing up, having a man up, don't cry, and then, like I said, pray about it or handle it yourself. And the point was, these messages, if they don't work, they can discourage. It's like, okay, I did these things and I'm still not, it's still not helping.
Right.
When you just, or if you just say, just go pray about it. And, that may not be the answer for you in particular.
Yeah, I think that's kind of outdated. It's the way of how to mask whatever's going on. And it's sort of a mask without trying to be an inconvenience or anything to anybody else. Like, you're not given the tools. So the most important thing these days is we instruct, like, the man up to this. Don't let him see you cry, or just don't cry, or don't whine about it, this, that, the other. Like, what is the message that's really coming across to people, right? Like, don't share your pain, don't communicate, bottle it up, before it's too late, sort of deal. So as much as we want to, talk about maybe the old folks doing it that way, are you providing the tools for people if you're going to just be telling them to, man up or brush it off or this and that, or instruct how a man acts or not supposed to act, Make sure that we have those tools available, and not just the rhetoric of this is the presentation of a man. And if you're not doing this, you can't have feelings, this, that, the other. We're in a part now where we're supposed to have these resources and all this stuff where it can't just be dealt with that way. It has to come with productive tools, Yeah. And when I say tools, I think we discussed this one time before, like Joe, hilarious. You can't just hand out the 1-800 number or whatever it is, and be like, everything's going to be all right. Right. If you accept the call, or you are one of these people like, I checked in, he says he's all right, and that's it. I'm not sure. And this is not something that I think all of us have, to be like, man, last time I spoke to a brother, man, he sounded really down, or, maybe I know we spoke about the game and all that stuff, but let me call back a couple days later and be like, yo, what's really going on?
Yeah.
And stuff like that too. And I don't know if it comes at the cost of maybe going through stuff yourself, that you might be able to identify this in others, because there have been some times, I've had my own struggles with stuff too, and allowed me to identify struggles with my homeboys who let out certain red flags about stuff, saying, oh, I've been feeling this way, or I just don't know what it is and stuff. And then, as a friend, call them back and being like, hey man, this is the way I've been feeling. This is how I'm looking into it, man. Why don't you, and one time isn't enough to make that suggestion. Follow up is really important. And, without your permission, but kind of your permission, because you put this information out there. You mentioned one of your homeboys way back, and what you wish, or what if you knew the steps you would have taken, like, man, I would have packed up and just slept on the floor overnight and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Because you're not the first call. That call, that reach out is damn near almost last resort, because that person's been reaching and bearing the cross, the whole time. So that by the time he calls a homeboy to really admit, like, yo, I'm breaking down here, it's probably about that time. But then if you get that call, it's not like you could hang up and then, go to the catalog and be like, what stage is he at? Oh, this is how I should respond.
Yeah. I mean, the idea in that now, because, I've been through it, is to, make a phone call to professionals, or like I got the 988 number. Like, that's not just for the person who's in crisis. That's also for, if you're concerned, they can walk you through some things, and they can talk to you about some things, and you could possibly get, like, I could say, hey, I got my buddy last call here. He's going through it, and I'm just trying to okay, would he get on the phone? And, hey,
Right.
see, I got this phone, like there's different things you could do. So yeah, we definitely have to be proactive. And part of it is like a key thing that you said was relating the fact that you've had struggles. And sometimes when we get through things, the assumption may be that like I got through it, so this
Right.
person can get through it, as opposed to just relating the fact that if you just relate to me that you've had these struggles, that's the connection right there. Not that you're trying to fix me, but that's the door, that's the connection for me to be like, oh, you know what? When I see him, he's always in the gym, he's always working out. And I never
Right.
see him sad, but he just opened up to me and was like, so and that's I think one of the things that I've, and this is just online because I'm not in everybody's life, but that's one of the things I think is kind of missing, or that I've seen that's been missing when it comes to communication between younger men and older men. It's more it seems like it's more of an adversarial relationship. It's not coming from a place where, hey man, this young man is struggling, let me at least check on him a little bit more than what somebody else is checking on. Right. Or let me ask a couple of more questions, or let me leave my number, let me just in case, as opposed to just saying hey, he last call crashed out on the pedal. Oh well, he crashed out, it's just entertainment, let me cut it up and make some content out of it, as opposed to, again, these numbers are the numbers. And even if you go, well, 3% this way and 4% that way, it's still higher than 10. 10 is considered epidemic, and it's still going to be higher than 10. Even if you take 20 of the 32 off, you still got more than 10.
Right.
So it's well worth it for us to have the extra conversation and to be able to pull. And again, I did this about younger because I think like, so for what I do for a living, like one of my biggest fears is having to work on somebody younger that's like the age of my kids, because it's like a traumatic thing.
Right.
When you appeal to somebody, not necessarily about themselves, but maybe about their kids or their grandkids, now it's like, oh, my grandbaby.
Right.
He might be struggling. So that's why I wanted to focus on the younger men, even though these studies are, depending on which studies, 15 to 24, and then there's 20 to 24. But that's not that different of an age area. You know what I'm saying? We still in the ballpark for somebody's grandson or somebody's son.
Right. And so a couple things with that. I know we're headed down the list. I want to, of course, stick to that you have out as well. But how do you reach the youth in that situation? I mean, it's kind of the same as anything, like stop the violence, stop drug use, this and that. Now you're asking to open up mentally, which I believe is even tougher these days because we're in this social media. If a kid's not feeling right, or the youth or somebody, and you look at their social media activity and you're like, well, this is half of the shit right there. Now they live in this other thing, and there's this extra component that an extra barrier before you get to them in order for them to open up. So how do you even get to that?
So if it's the idea, like I use the internet and the things that I'm seeing online, social media, is a little bit of my metric on how things are going. But this is if you are fortunate enough to build some trust with somebody, then maybe you can open that door. But the problems are like these numbers are people that are in our families and in our proximity, and these are so even if you can't do it like necessarily online, because it's social media is a tricky place, and it is you have to build trust and things like that. Even if you can't do it online or you don't have the opportunity, I'm saying, hey, churches, schools, mentorship, there are different organizations and things like that that probably need men of our age. I know I'm a little older than you, but our experiences or just to see us showing up in certain places and showing that we care.
Right.
It is a difficult thing because again, there is a bit of a divide, but I think if we keep showing up, and you get that one kid, then that might be, hey, we all can just try to get one kid or whatever, or maybe I'm just pipe dreaming, but the main goal for having me doing this is to push the conversation and kind of say, all right, here's what we got. Here's some things that are potentially the cause. What can you do with it in your area, in your community, in your family? So that's the idea. So like you're saying, it is hard to do on social media. So yeah, it is an extra barrier, and it'll be a lot more of your time and work. But if anything you feel is worth it, it won't feel like it's a chore.
Right.
All right. So we was going to the mental health part of. You want anything else you wanted to talk about in the stigmas and how we've been conditioning boys even to this day that certain things are not acceptable as a boy, and to become a man you gotta such and such and do this, and a real man wouldn't do that and all that stuff. And you have these young boys questioning if they're a real man because all my life my uncles told me, this, if you don't do this, you're not a man.
Right. No, that's about it. But it reminded me, just before you get off this point over here, I was in be hanging with those guys you introduced me to on the block, Big Rigs.
Rigs.
Shout out. They had a show, he hangs out with John S and Be Easy. John S was doing his live the other time, so they were talking about masculinity again and hyper masculinity, and they were getting what's a punk and what's not a punk. And I think I put the line down, not that we were sort of on the same page, but just the line to solidify, like, just being a gentleman doesn't mean that you're being a punk as well. So it's if as a mentor, if you don't have those tools, that because it's a very fine line, you could either damage or you could either empower somebody with your words that way. So you got to be like, you're not acting like a sissy or whatever, and not maybe let them act in a way that they shouldn't be acting, but at the same time nurture some of those good traits that are just good human qualities as well. So like I'm saying, just because you hold the door open or you do, doesn't make you a punk or doesn't make you soft or anything. There is a line between being a gentleman and hyper masculinity and being a so-called softie to these people. So yeah.
And I think a lot of it gets skewed because it worked for me, right? So like, what I'm saying? Like, I always talk about how, like, you don't want to challenge, like, mom and grandpa's way of doing things because, it worked for them. And it's not like you're saying something is necessarily wrong, but it may not work. You used the word outdated, like when you first, like some of the stuff is outdated and some of the information could be wrong. Like the things that we're doing and saying could be wrong. I know whatever we're doing, these numbers are rising. Whatever we're doing or whatever we're not doing, these numbers are rising. What's up, Triggs? Good to see you. Good to see you, brother. Good brother. So, like, do we say, do we look at the landscape and go like, oh man, this ain't working, so we gotta okay, now what are we gonna do? Because whatever we saying, whatever we're doing, and we telling, like you said, that we're telling them don't be a punk, don't be a sis, like all the stuff that we're doing, the numbers are going up. So it's not working, right? It's not. So is it necessarily wrong? Is the idea of what manhood is it wrong, or are they just rebelling, or they just don't agree with it? You know what I'm saying? That's where the conversations come in, and that's where if you just having a surface level conversation with somebody, you may not get to know them. But if you actually, talk to somebody and see, and you can, and if they if you're if you're fortunate enough that they trust you enough that they'll have a conversation and open up to you, then maybe we can maybe we can break that barrier, and then there could be, okay, you know what, yeah, well, that's the way I thought, that's the way I grew up.
Right.
I didn't, we didn't put band-aids on, we just, you rolled your ankle, you just tightened up your shoe. You didn't go
right,
to the
right.
tighten up your shoe, you limped around. You didn't go to the doctor. You didn't realize you damaged your ankle. Things like that. And then this little throwaway things, but on a larger scale, this is kind of what we do, especially as men and boys. We kind of do to each other, and we spend a lot of time emasculating each other from the time we're little, and making fun of each other, and putting these rituals that maybe in ancient times you needed to go out in the woods and hunt and come back, and then you were a man. But we don't need to do that now. You know what I mean?
Right. And there's a lot of things. I mean, growing up with cousins, you might have older brothers and stuff. You had to be. It was a different way. It wasn't like kids go out to play and something happens to one now, then they got to have a lineup and interrogation. Who did this? What now? And then make it right. I remember also like they must have asked me at least one time, like, how was school? How was your day today? And stuff like that. But my parents really didn't go through what I see, how kids are have their parents involved today. How was your day today? What did you do today? If they know your teacher's name, they have access, they could email the teachers back and forth, kind of have that with them as well. What did you do? What's the I didn't get none of that stuff. And I just think it's the older way. Mom and dad were working. They were working late. They were working a lot. They didn't have time to be checked. The parents did what they were supposed to do. They did their job, and it was your job to do whatever the hell you were supposed to do, so you don't bother them, But you didn't get the everyday, how was okay, what did you do? Who do you play with? What did you do on your recess? All right, you work it, like all that stuff. There are new ways people are trying to reach out to the kids, but my fear with that is like a fear of a lot of things, where it just becomes the formality. It becomes irregular, where they're not even really listening. They're just kind of like, so how is this? How is that? Nobody's really going the extra step to be like, oh, really? How do you feel about that? How do we fix that?
Yeah.
But the rigmarole. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where the that's where the gold is, having more of those conversations. And and I think you got to kind of start that early, because you wait till they're a teenager and you start trying to dig in their business or whatever. They're not trying to tell you all of that. They're not trying to open up to you. As a matter of fact,
exactly.
Flat out lie and say, no, I don't do that. I don't know what that is. I never heard it.
How was your day? Good. What did you do? You're just pulling teeth.
Pulling 100%, 100% pulling teeth. So you kind of got to start that when they're very young, opening up and making them feel like they have a not a seat at the table, because you still are the parent, but
right.
That there's a door. My door is open all the time. Your boss say, I got open door policy. If you ever want to, like, there has to be room for that, and also have to be room for failure and allowing them to get disappointed from things without you taking on like it on you, like it's a disappointment. You disappointed me, you making me look bad. Like there's enough for them socially as a kid for them to to deal with, and without and then you live and you learn, though. You know what I mean? Like I said, we get to like, okay, look, I'm alive, so hey, well, everything that I saw and did must have been right, because I'm still here.
Yeah
It must have worked. I'm still here. I always, at one point I would say, I tell a story. It's side kind of story with my grandmother. When it was thunder and lightning, we had to sit down and turn the lights off because she told a story. Somebody told a story where lightning went through the house and went through one window, went out the other window because they were jumping around. And like, so we were deathly afraid of thunderstorms. So all the lights was off and we laid down and we didn't move in a pitch black house, you know, because of stuff that we were told. And as you got older, you're like, wait a minute, this is not even possible that this happened. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like you from a very young age, we learn lies and how not to trust by watching our parents, you know, tell their boss sick or lie to aunt or uncle, and you just sitting there like, man, that's not what happened. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's, when I say a seat at the table, I mean just like an open, honest dialogue with these young boys, young girls too, but this was in particular the young boys. These young boys have open dialogue with them, so they don't feel like I can't go to my father because he's not going to think I'm a man.
Right, and it's really more of a safe space also. You know, provide, you're at the table, but there's no, it doesn't mean we're at the same level of stuff. It's just here you could open up freely, you know, and express yourself in a non-judgmental way, you know. And it's very important. Very important.
Yes. Beautiful Sam, what's up? Last call. All right.
What's up?
Yeah. So, all right. So that was the mental health stigma. The stigmas across the board. There's a lot of stigmas, and you know, like you said, seat at the table. We want you to be able to have conversations, and you know, we're not asking you to man up. You don't have to man up at 8, 9, 10. So by the time you're 15, you know, you feel like you have to be a man at that age because there's still so much to learn and so many things that you're gonna experience in life. And being a man, you're at this, I don't know, years ago, maybe Kings and with all that stuff. Like I said, you had to go out there, and by the time you was 12, you was able to catch this and bring it home. We don't live in that society anymore. So there's no need to, you know, and make them feel bad about it. So the next one was trauma. And I talked about community violence, family instability, grief, police violence, racism, bullying, and different childhood experiences as well.
Right.
So
I think
those things, those things increase the risk for depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts, according to these 4 different study groups that I went into.
Whew. It's another tough one. But again, I think the backbone of that is having good mentorship, which, you know, is a whole situation on its own, because everybody's kind of catching it. You know, if you do make the decision to bring kids in this world, you know, parenting is a verb. You know, as your child is growing up, going through certain thresholds and ages in life, you know, proactive parents are going to prepare them for some of the things that they might see or encounter, you know, with things that age or coming to that age or leaving the house or maybe going to a campus or maybe earning a license and then getting a car on your own. You might experience some of this stuff. So I want you to be careful. Yeah. It's true mentorship in parenting versus, oh, this shit happened to me. Now, you know, you didn't tell me this and that. It is our responsibility to share with whoa, easy there. Don't bust the bicep.
I have to show my bicep. SPK in the house. SPK in the motherfucking house.
God, it's funny. That's funny. But all those things, and we're crazy not to think things like this, and then I don't want to say encourage, but allow this free use of social media. I keep going back to that because I think it is so crucial, and I think it is so negatively influential to these youth as well that they don't even know. Like, it's causing these hyper masculinity. It's causing these awkward and abrasive social situations. Well, some of these things, you know, I'm a scroller. I might not do the social media, but when I can't sleep, I scroll and see the minute or so videos and all this stuff. Some of the things that they're even doing, using this social media and stuff as a bridge to being able to talk to people, but doing it so aggressively and being so abrasive out there versus how to actually speak to a young lady or anybody out there that, if the camera wasn't there, you'd probably be in a lot more trouble, in those cases too. So I like to concentrate, and I think we should concentrate on the more proactive side of things versus how to finesse and maneuver through the shit that's already there. These are the things that we know that are there. One of the things that I think we don't pass this knowledge on, because I know a Martin Luther King and my parents knew a Martin Luther King. We assume that the next generation is going to know all about Martin Luther King and get all the context in the struggle, when that's not necessarily the case there also. One thing I wanted to add that I like to do with mainly my nephews, the dudes in the family and stuff like that if you are going to give advice, or if you do plan on carrying on a conversation, I always try to find something else, with these kids that I could follow up with. Like you said, you were doing this in school, you joined theater. How's the theater class? Oh, you still doing that? You're not doing that? What else do you need to do that kind of thing? One of the extra things that I like to do, and maybe it's because, I've learned to, I'd say, become a reader. I really don't consider myself that as such, but there was a time that I really like to pick up a lot of books. I like to read articles and stuff like that too. So while you're talking and following it up, oh, you like this, you like mechanics, whatever it is, hand over a paperback, a book that you could think of. Remember those books? They had more books for us back in, like Walter Dean Myers or anything like that, or even bring it a step up. Oh, you're ready to go to college? What's the 10 power, whatever economics, whatever that thing is, or The Secret and stuff like that. Hey man, I want you to check out this book and read a couple chapters every once in a while, and I'll talk to you about it, with it too. I think those are important ways to do that.
Yeah. The social media thing, you can use it. Obviously, you can use it for good, but just tap onto it. And this is not exclusive to young men, women, anybody, because I see adults doing it, but it does affect them some of the adverse effects can be the cyberbullying. I know people say, hey, log offline, but I see everybody walking around with their phones.
Right.
So it just tell younger people, hey man, just log off, and while you got your phone in your hand,
right,
scrolling. Hey, how much time you been on the phone today? Okay, let me lose my phone. I freak out.
Right.
So like, yeah, the bullying, comparison, the social media comparison is out of control with everybody. But do younger people have a harder time processing this stuff and understanding what's real and what's not? We all doom scrolling. We all doing that. Unrealistic expectations. Oh shit, my bad. I just saw that. How you getting in now, brother?
Yeah, cool.
All right. Yeah, so like and then exposure to like harmful content as well. So there may be some things that you look at one thing, you look at something one time, and then it's just, it's the algorithm is going to feed you more of that. So there are potential negative things with the social media and an amount of time that people are spending on it. But some of the positive things, you can find a good community if you are searching.
True.
You can find a lot of things, like a lot of the information for mental health education is online. You can talk to people in different places who you never would have talked to. Same thing with crisis resources. You can, you keep your, let me see if I can, this word, anonymity by, you can talk to people and maybe, not necessarily, because, part of, like you was talking about, like going to the internet, one of the downfalls is of our ability, like you said, to even communicate with somebody in person, because you might spend a lot of time online.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there are some things like there are benefits for being anonymous and possibly getting some help. And, and you find people with similar stories as well. You know,
Right.
you can find
Right.
people with similar stories. So the social media is like, it's depending on what weight you put on it, it can take you in some really dark places
Right.
and really mess you up in a way, and make you, make you isolated too. Because if you never have to, if you never have to leave the house, if
Right.
you work from home and you order food from out, you online date, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you social cues and things like that that you would normally, like
Mm.
jitters from, say, we talked about, like, say you meeting a girl or whatever, the jitters of, and the fear of rejection, like those things in real life, I think those kind of things build you. So social media in that sense has allowed people to kind of just, you know, first of all, be whoever they want to be,
Right.
whether it's truthful or not, but also it takes away from some of those things that, I think you benefit. And uh and and you may, some people may spend more time with people online than they do with their own family. So in that case, like, how does your uncle get to you if you're struggling when you don't really talk to him, or he hasn't really shown that interest in you, or once he does, last call treats me better online, so I'd rather.
Right. Right. And my thing, it's not even, it doesn't foster it. Yeah, you're right. The algorithm, if you're looking up this and that, it'll give you a little bit of more of this and that as well with it. But if you do choose to go down the rabbit hole and stuff of some negative stuff, it's going to send you to some very crazy places. And my concern with that is how many kids are really looking up, we're concentrating on the youth here, the rising suicide crisis here, of black youth, particularly black males. How many of these kids got the world at their fingertips, are looking up historical facts and uplifting things. It's more about being in the sludge, back and forth, who's making a jackass out of themselves,
Yeah.
all that kind of nonsense as well. So even though there could be plenty of apps out there to help and guide and all this kind of stuff, it's just not, these things are not wired to interrupt your flow if you're not going that way.
Yeah. So when we, as parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, um it behooves us to really pay attention to these things. And I know it may seem intrusive to a kid because, you know it's my phone, and I know what I'm doing, and I ain't gonna, but again, building that bond with them allows you to have these conversations with them, and it's tough um to not be preachy and be on a soapbox when you're talking to somebody you may feel like you know more than them, or you've been through more in life than them.
Or you
So
lecturing,
yeah, like,
yeah.
so like, yeah, that's where the connection, building that connection, man. You know, just keep in mind what they're going through, and it may not be what you went through. You okay? It ain't. I know it ain't the '90s for me. When I was a teenager, and my kids didn't grow up in the '90s, but they still have their own set of problems, and I don't like minimizing their problems just because it's not helping them. Like I said, whatever we're doing, the rates are rising. So whatever we're doing is not working. Why not try something different? Why not start to reach across the table, with a hand, and pull in for an embrace, as opposed to saying, hey, you gotta stop that. You gotta figure that out. The men don't do that. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that.
Right.
Why not soften it up a little bit so they can
Right.
feel comfortable with you. You're not gonna break them.
Right.
You're not gonna.
Right.
They're not glad. They're not fragile to the point where you're gonna snap them in half. But you can guide them in a way that, like I said, if you know shit is not working, like are you just gonna keep on, you know?
And you're right. That's the extra task for the parents, particularly I put black men on that, of how you communicate to the youth, because exactly what you said, to make sure it doesn't come across too aggressively or to seem like you're putting down the youth. Like, why are you, doing it like this? Why are you talking? Whatever, pause, whatever. All this sort of stuff plays into the psyche of these kids versus an adult that's able to communicate these ideas. Like, hey, I noticed the last couple of times you did this, or you didn't look the waiter in the eyes, or you didn't say thank you with that interaction, or even things with two parents I didn't learn until somebody called me out for looking rude, which was like standing up and shaking somebody's hand versus somebody sticking out their hand and being like, hey, how you doing? Somebody's like, why didn't you get up and he's shaking your hand, you pick up and you learn this stuff away. I was reading this article the other day, and I got this thing about parents that kind of lead their kids into an unhealthy lifestyle. Take it away from this, but I forgot what the state was. It could be Illinois or something like that. Two parents, they're like damn near over 300 pounds or something like that. They were finally charged for not just neglect, but they were charged as child abuse because I might be messing up the dates a little bit. I think their 7-year-old son died because he was 277 pounds or something like that. So they put it on the parents and gave them the responsibility, something like that. You'll find something like that in there. They recently just got the verdict down. And I remember stuff like this. I don't know how many people do this. Say you go to McDonald's, or I think the restaurant that I was in was actually Popeyes, waiting for my food and stuff. Got my food waiting, people watching, whoever's ordering and stuff like this. You had this big mama step up to the step. There's no other way to describe it, man. But the point is, she came up. She's like barely breathing, like no neck, stomach out, just looking unhealthy. Like she doesn't need to be nowhere near this restaurant. And she, can I get 3 pieces of biscuit? But the thing about that is she had a daughter that was at least between 5 and 10, maybe closer to 10. Same body built. I'm like, that's learned. Some of it's genetics, kind of like that. But because she probably lets her young little daughter eat and copy the same, that little kid went up to the thing the same way. Can I get a 2-piece biscuit? And I'm like, look what you're teaching these kids, man. So if it's like, you can't even take I would say kind of like the easier route where it's not even that psychological, but at least by example, make some sandwiches or healthier choices and stuff. You got a mini you because you're comfortable like that, and you don't want to foster anything more healthy than what you're accustomed to. Well, it's kind of like the same thing with these kids, and you handle things the same way, and you expect them to download healthy stuff from a whole unhealthy mentality. Right.
They're not gonna. They're going to, well, let me not say they're not gonna, because some kids look and be like, oh, that's what I don't want to do. Whether I want to do it, but that's not what I want to be when I. But
right.
For the most part, though, like if that's all you have for dinner and that's all you have in the house, then that's what they're gonna eat and that's what they're gonna get used to.
Right.
Same thing, up here, like the stuff you put in their head and stuff that, the stuff that you allow them to watch or you expose them to, at least without explanation. Like if there's something that they're watching, or and this was like, we're in the trauma section, so this, just so people, if you're coming in, we're in the trauma section, the bullet point trauma section, which was community violence, family instability, which is this, grief, police violence, racism, bullying. So that's where we are at this point. So that's what we kind of deep diving into that. So if you wonder where we're going with this, but what we're putting up there in their minds, and what we're putting up, what we're telling them, and then not just what we're telling them, what we're actually doing. They're watching these things, and these are considered, like, this is considered trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And these are things that, so like you said, I know we're talking about boys, but like you said, this young girl's overweight, she's getting teased in school.
Right.
So that's going to add to, potential depression and, body, I forgot what's like, body dysmorphia.
Dysmorphia, right.
Stuff like that. These are things that this type of trauma, these are things that, go into, and when they get, and they're young, and then teenagers, puberty. Now you got that whole thing, the puberty,
right,
bullying, the not knowing where you fit in socially. It takes a strong, or not want to say strong. It takes a different kind of person or a teenager to have to be able to withstand that and not come out with some sort of depression because they're comparing themselves to other people. Depression because they don't feel good about themselves in general. Right. Depression because people are making fun of them because of their size and things like that. So it these things people may not look at in the long haul. You may, they 7, they 8. Let's give them a piece of cake. And I'm not saying I give people cake. I'm just
yeah.
You start these unhealthy things physically, mentally, and dietary. This stuff goes into, as they get older and as they become teenagers. So we're talking about attacking on all fronts, whether it be being loving, creating a safe space, having conversation, kids, seat at the table with kids, what you feeding them in their mouth, what you feeding in their brain. Like we're talking about all of that.
Just like we're saying, instead of telling them there's these resources out there, like I'm saying, bring a book. And a lot of parents may not be readers and stuff like that. That's where you got to do a little extra work and be like, oh, you're coping with this right now. Or here's some story about some people your age. Let's talk about it next time. You might want to get a copy for yourself so you can talk about it. Because these books come. The reason why they make these books is so that there's a lesson to it. And I feel like, drawing those parallels between, the mental health and having good communication is just like the intake and digesting of food, because it's a pattern that you're going to have. If you see there and you witness, bad nutrition, those bad habits, imagine the reverse they have to do that if they're like 300 pounds by the time they get to high school and stuff, and discovering that body dysmorphia and all that stuff, the stuff that they have to reverse to get onto that level playing field. Well, the same thing mentally. All the stuff, all that horrible stuff that they downloaded, from their parents that nobody talked them through, and nobody had any resources for them, how they undo all that mess to become, more healthy person in society up to that point too. Very important.
Yeah. And so imagine, because therapy is more pushed now than ever in my lifetime. So, but imagine up until that point, that, and then no real outlet. You know what I'm saying? You got especially because, again, we're going to go back to the boys, the men, the energy, the testosterone, and you have all these things going, and where's your outlet?
Right.
You hear a lot of stories, like when it comes to like athletes, and I know it's like controversial because, athletics is not necessarily going to save, black boys or whatever, but you hear stories of like, hey, coach last call, man, if he didn't get me on his team, I was
right.
He got me into an exercise routine. He got me on the team in general. He got me, giving me responsibilities. Like, he showed me, like, if you talk about football, we got 11 men on the offense, 11 men on the defense. now I'm part of a team. Now I'm part of something where I'm important. And so with that, on the opposite side is that it's like gang activity. Like when you not showing these young boys love, and you not giving them a place where they feel comfortable enough to talk to you and enough to express themselves with you.
Yeah.
Somebody else is showing them love, and somebody else is saying, "Nah, you good over here," and somebody else is feeding them information mentally, and
they're just wrapping them up in acceptance versus
Yeah,
a
so
way to do stuff.
yeah, so it's important, the overriding theme for we keep going back to having these communication and building these connections to the point where people feel safe. That safe space. I know that's like a soft word, but to me, it's not a soft word. For somebody to feel safe, every kid wants to feel safe. Every adult wants to feel safe. So I don't see how when you say, all right, from the ages of from birth to about 12, 13, we're going to make sure these boys have a safe space.
Right.
Now that they're teenagers, you got to toughen up. They can't have no safe space. They got to, okay, so what are we producing after? If we're just like, all right, no more safe space now. Now you got to, I'm not saying coddle them and baby them. I'm just saying make it okay for them to be like, you know what, I'm just struggling right now and I don't know what to do. That's okay. You're not less of a man because you don't know what to do. A real man knows what to do. A real man will figure it out. Like, nah, I don't know about that.
But saying that, and then at the same time, hey man, you did anything? Let me know. They'll tell you did anything? Let me know.
Yeah.
And then at the other hand, they're like, figure it out. Real men do that. It's like, which way do you want me to go?
Yeah.
With that also.
And again, I'm gonna say this again. Whatever we doing, any the men can, I'm not arguing with other men on this point, because everybody has their idea of what a real man is and what men should be doing. Whatever we're doing, the suicide rate, the men between 20 and 24 is rising. So whatever we're telling them, whatever we're doing, I'm not saying all of it. I'm not saying throw it all away. I'm just saying the studies are showing, I named 4 different groups of studies, organizations where you can find these studies: CDC, National Institute for Mental Health, the Trevor Project, and American Academy of Pediatrics.
Vibrant dropped a line too there.
A link. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Thank you. Vibrant is a super mod.
Honor stuff, man. For real.
Yeah.
For real.
I'm telling you. But yeah, what do they say? Argue with your mama? This shit, it's not, whatever we doing, it's not working. So the rates are going up past epidemic rates. If I told you, because now we talking about black boys, if I told you that police are killing 31 out of every 100,000 black boys, what you think the reaction would be?
My thing with that is like around the board. It's funny because I got a video I might put out after this. And it's one of the things that I brought up on the live as well. And we might have to give you a little preview of the pod on Friday too, because we were talking about this video that she sent. In these cases, I always think, well, what's the black number? Now, let me take it back, because I had mentioned this on my show to try to get people to understand what I'm talking about over here. When we talk about, the past and we're reaching the July 4th, big celebration. Actually, the video that I'm going to drop is more of a tribute to Frederick Douglass, because he has a speech that he did some years ago. What is the I'm paraphrasing here. What is the 4th of July to a slave? While you celebrate these 250 years or even 100 years ago or before emancipation, you're celebrating how great this country is and stuff. But meanwhile, you expect the Black community to partake in these celebrations. Yes, you help the greatness of the country, but now you're still treated as a second-class citizen. You could be pulled out of your house anytime. You could be lynched. You could be thrown in jail for without just cause or anything like that. I go back to even something kind of funny like the Titanic. In school, you learn, the Titanic. I always used to wonder these things like, where would the Black people be in the Titanic in that part of history, right? Written out literally the low. If you're in there, you're shoveling the coal. They're the first to be out there or trapped. No lifeboat is coming for you. Sort of deal.
It might be some entertainment.
You know what I'm saying? So you were down there shoveling the coal. So while these elite folk was going on the little dinghies and this big tragedy about the Titanic, I'm like, the Titanic got nothing for me in there. But I take the Titanic, but you choose anything in the course of history of what the celebration's supposed to be. And then you take that back and you're like, but we were still just second-class citizens. I wasn't even a man back then. We were dealing with this on top of coming back from World War II and not given the same land rights, not getting the same Pell Grants, not being honorably discharged or anything like that, to get it. So it doesn't surprise me when we look at anything like this as a crisis that there are a murder crisis or there are suicide crisis going on, and the real crisis numbers of it are either the Black community or Black males at that as well, because that's what it's been. Even when they bring up these months, they don't bring up these months with Black kids in mind. Right. That's not the prototype for what they're concentrating on, right? The prototype is, leave it to Beaver type, whatever it is over there. And you're the last concentration. I mean, the one that they really go through are the missing Black women, right? Yeah. They if you look at the news, you wouldn't think Black girls went missing at all.
No, you don't.
Or indigenous, right? But in fact, there are a big chunk of those, and when they do go missing, they're never pursued. They're not given the same resources or anything like that. But they make up a big portion of those, and they're in crisis as we stick to the crisis theme as well. So for me, it's across the board that no matter what the crisis is, there's a bigger crisis in for my people over here, because that's just the way it is. And it's going to be that way when the hype is gone, when the month is gone, when the next latest gun related whatever it is in the news and stuff is gone, and the politicians look it over. It's still going to be the same statistics that are in crisis. The whole area of Black youth is in crisis mode across the board.
Now, listen, I didn't even go to how Black girls are treated, right? And how in the obstacles that Black girls and Black women have. I specifically went, with Black men in this particular age group, but there is so many different, as a people, there's so many different things, so many different obstacles and things that we have to deal with that kind of just go, like you said, you wouldn't think that Black girls go missing. You wouldn't even think about it. Right. Part of it is, what the media deems important, and they all kind of reading from the same script, and they all kind of talking about the same hottest thing. So I get it, but this is why I say, for me, this messaging was to people who can relate. If you have a nephew, a son, a grandson, a brother, a good friend who are in these age ranges, or even in your age range, because it's across the board, our rates are climbing.
Mm-hmm.
That you can, be, obviously somebody doesn't think is important enough for it to be at every presidential debate, at every local government, the debates on the local news. It's not important enough to, society as a whole, or a media as a whole, or government as a whole. So that's why I said, like, you know what, let me again thank you, Drama, Joe, and Stephanie Collins for having me do it, but put the information out there. And there's and I did look up on YouTube. There's as far as 6, 7, 8 years ago, there are people talking about this on YouTube. I did see some things where people are actually talking about this, and for between now and a roughly like a 10-year window. So there are people who are actually talking about it on YouTube, but this is just one rung of a ladder of different social and social issues of epidemic proportions on that people like us have to deal with. And so my thing was to put it out so that people, if you're not aware, you can get aware. And then if you are aware, maybe
what are you doing about it?
Put a little battery in your back to reach out to your family members, because the government, your local government, and the federal government is not. This is not a priority for them.
Right.
So it's kind of like, on us, and I want to encourage people to really, really like just check in on your people, because if not you, who?
Right.
These let me see, there was something, I had something here that kind of go along with this. Let's see. Just in time. No, that's not it. Not isolation. No, social media. That. Yeah. So look. So one of the things. So a couple of things. So, strong family relationships. Young people feel connected to caring adults. That feel connected to caring adults are less likely to experience suicidal crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is about. This is not about government. This is not about, like I said, local or federal government. This is about people, young people feeling connected to caring adults. They're less likely to experience suicidal crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's us.
Yes.
That's, Hey, what's up, nonconformist? One of my favorite people. If I could think of somebody that's more supportive than her, I know it is like no race, but nonconformist, since I did my first live, has been like,
there it is.
She got me my first interview too. I'm trying to think. Okay. One of my first interviews, she got me.
All right.
Like
good people stick with, man.
Yeah, nah, man. She really and we cool, like cool for real.
All right.
But yeah, so that's what this is about. The young people that feel connected to caring adults. That's us. Less likely to experience this. So amongst that, coaches, teachers, even barbers, church leaders, community leaders, those are people that are considered. Those are people that when these younger people feel connected to, they're less likely to experience this crisis. So that's us. Nowhere in there says politicians, presidents.
Right.
That's us. These are the people that they're gonna be connected to directly.
Right. And connected to, but not necessarily magnetized towards.
Yeah.
Like effort has to be made, effort, you could be a minor, stuff like that, but you may share a little bit of that responsibility to be able to pursue any of those so-called resources that are out there. But yes, if we're talking mainly about us, what we could do to become better mentors, to become, more open. Like I said, you could have that open door policy, as we're saying, and it's so easy to say that in the context in what you mean it in. Like literally, you come in here and ask me a question and stuff, but are you really doing that? Are you really inviting? Like I'm saying, some of the things you could do are follow up conversations are so important to let people know, like, wow, you remember we were I do that as an adult with my friends in dinners that we go to and everything, like still follow up with their lives. That's my way of showing like I'm listening to what you're saying. You matter to me. I don't take that information and just throw it away because we're talking. I'm truly asking questions. I'm following up, and here's that information. Take this book with you and we could talk about it next time. We're together like that too. Is there, I can ask a simple question, is there enough of that? And if not, then are we really bridging those gaps besides just talking about it and saying, yeah, the door's open. What are we really doing to help that out in this crisis? This is crisis mode, you know?
Yeah, no, there's some things we got to do. Like you said, we got to ask the direct questions about their emotional well-beings, normalize the conversations about their feelings. We talk about shame, like we got to reduce shame around therapy. See if there's things that that you notice that's different, behavioral changes. Um, don't try to come at them, in a way where you're trying to fix them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen to them without trying to fix them. You just want to listen. That's what I'll talk about, that soft space. And then, like you said, follow up, right? Have a
And
meal with them, have a
right,
conversation with them, and hey, I'm just gonna go I'm going to the gym. In between sets, having
right,
conversations,
right.
these are things that those are things that families can do, like right now. These are things that you could do. You don't have to do all of them. These are things you could do right now.
And let me say something that sounds like it's obvious, but when I was younger, we didn't take part. Our family didn't go to the art fair or, this, that, or go to the galleries or museums and stuff like that. We had some stuff. I'm not trying to say we didn't grow up ignorant and in the dark and sheltered, but we could easily grow up thinking this stuff is not for us. Now, older, when I started making my own money, I'm on my own and stuff like that, I'm checking out the festivals and things like that have other people out there. These are those things, in case you didn't know, are for us too, to go out there in the community and enjoy these things. That's for us. It's for we could invite people out. You could see these people that you're talking about out there too. So like you're saying, go to the library here, whatever it is. Those little mini marathons that supposedly support a good cause and stuff like that. Get people to go in there with you too. That's what I find. So if you're really, if it's a community thing and they say, it takes a village, all that stuff, it really has to come to that, because most things have a crisis response center or team. This does not have that. We have to find that and handle this as well. There's two questions I have for you. Okay, start with this one that might be a little more complicated. If we're looking at a pie chart, what would you put in that pie chart, and how would you allot the percentages for what's facing, or what the reasons are for young Black males to think of those or be in that suicidal frame of mind? You mentioned like the anxiety and things like that too, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, so you got up to 100%. You got to section off this stuff to make the pie chart. What does your pie chart look like?
Yeah, I had to think about that, about the actual pie chart. But some of the things that I touched on here, definitely would be in the pie chart, and percentage wise, I'm not sure, but I would say, like, not feeling, like a loss of sense of community, maybe, um, you know, it, like things like what you're exposed to as far as like, you know, from the older group, you know, from your peer, from your old, like, you know, the next generation before you, some of the things that you experience from them um may contribute to it. Stigma, of course, you know, not, you know, not a clear cut idea of what quote unquote being a man is, you know, can have people maybe not necessarily experimenting, but it will have people kind of like not knowing exactly what to do, and it's no worse feeling than feeling lost.
The measuring up
Measuring
portion.
up, yeah, measuring up.
Okay.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Um, uh, I mean, it's a lot of it: the instability, grief. You know, uh, bullying, racism. It's like it's a bunch of different things. Like
Right.
yeah, I don't know how to like. I don't know what percentage of things are. I guess I imagine it would be depending on the actual person, because I think all of these things that we talked about and we touched on, it's contributing to it. What percentage of this contributes to that? You know, like, you know, as far as the pie chart, what slice of the pie this is going to be, you know, that I think that would be more individualistic. But I think all in all, the things that we've touched on, you know, it's all there. You know, I think it's all there. You know, not knowing what the future holds. You know, like so like years ago there was you remember there was like supposed to be like this Y2K virus.
Yeah. The world was gonna shut down. Y2K.
Yeah. So like stuff like that where there's more conspiracy theories than ever. There's more, you know what I'm saying? There's just so much coming at these kids. You know what I mean? There's just so much information and so much. And if I, you know, you and I both, right now, we could like turn the live off, go do some research, come up with a version of a story of something that's going to happen in the next 10 years that's completely made up.
Right.
And somehow, some way, somebody could get a hold of that, and that could snowball until like this is actually, you know, empirical. There's actually science, empirical data on this particular thing, depending on how we do it. It's
just like the Mayan calendar.
It's just so much stuff that they have thrown at them. And I think that's one of the underrated things, because we didn't have that. I joke with my friends all the time, like, man, if we had social media back in the day, I don't know that I would get hired, man. I don't know that anybody would hire me if they looked at my social media, if I was recording, if we was recording, you know, all our activities and everything we were doing. So
right.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And that's why I was saying, like, my goal wasn't necessarily to like, you know, have a solid solution. My thing was like all hands on deck, all people on deck, all ideas on deck. But the main thing is just to start the conversation, and you can go, okay, this is interesting. This is, you know, sad. It's alarming. You know, what could I do in my little circle that can affect it? But yeah, that was. I didn't give you an answer about the percentages on my pie chart, but it was
I didn't expect you to be so. You know, I'm just giving you like a framework to be like
such
considered.
A freaking deep question, like,
but it is a question too. I bet mentally you're kind of looking at some stuff right now. To be like,
you just, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. But go ahead. You said you had two questions. I hope that was a softball.
That was that one as well. I don't really remember what the other one was, because it was sort of like the same deal. How we do the outreach and the upkeep. You know, a lot of people, just based on the title alone, you know, I was doing some stuff and I was like, oh, cool, a brother's doing this thing and whatnot. But what also compelled me, you know, to be on the panel and talk is just to give a little bit more juice to this thing of how important it is for us. So everybody should kind of be checking in and being like, damn, what could I do? Send us away with like a homework, you know, assignment, so we could come back and be like, you know, I took these steps to try to be a little bit more open and stuff like that. There's, you know, as I was doing my scrolls last night too. Once in a while, they have these old white dudes listen, so they listen to Tupac or something like that, and give their opinion on it. And this is kind of like their thing that they promise to do to be more understanding, within the world and all that stuff. And the thought is, walking away here today, this is not just the kind of live podcast that you walk away from and just be like, oh, that was nice. Glad brother did that. This is the type of thing that you really got to walk away with and say, what am I going to do? What can I do in my small space? If you have kids, you don't have kids, you got the nephews, whatever it is that you have, and that this has to be done, because this is like, what they say, all out war, land, sea, and air. Everything has to be covered to be able to attack this crisis. And it includes everybody could influence some sort of change and stuff. Things you could do too. I've set up and I've contributed to one of these street libraries. Now, certain neighborhoods are going to go better than other neighborhoods, but one of these things that hold maybe about 20 books or so, or some videotapes or some sort of literature, you could put those. There are companies that'll put those on your block, and it's a communal. You fill it with a few books. You don't even really have to have the books. You could go to libraries, you could go to bookstores, schools throw away books at the end of the year, and just fill it with a few materials.
Yeah, I forgot what they're called. They're like little houses, like little
right. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, those are how many times I go in there. Not like sometimes they're in obscure places, but a lot of times they're in places where you would expect them to be.
Right.
Yeah, no, I definitely grab books from my son or from even some for me. I'm like, oh, okay.
And I put books in there. I put stuff in there that I don't use anymore. I'm like, I'd like this to be out in the world now.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to get to nonconformist question. I don't know if she's still here, but she said, I'm not sure how much you guys cover. I'm fairly late. Are both of you comfortable expressing your feelings as men? I am. I would say in the last 5-10 years, I've gotten comfortable with it, but I haven't always been.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off if you were
still No.
I've become very comfortable, and knowing that it's not about just me. Also, that person has to be able to receive the information that you're saying. It's on you. The onus is on you to make sure that you communicate properly, that it's not in anger, that you don't have any sort of attitude or any sort of blame while you have this sort of stuff. So part of it was like, I went to school, and in my profession, I got a couple post-grad degrees and stuff like that too. So I take my communication very seriously. It transfers into my relationships that I've been involved with, so much to the point because we're grown up, we're brought up to think that the women are because they talk so much that it equals good communication and stuff like that. And in some of the sorry ladies, but it's true, in some of the relationships that I've been because I take the emotion out of it, I'm able to discuss a lot of these things. But another part of that too is I've had certain lessons in life where the only way to get your point heard is being articulate, to the point, leave no fat on the argument, and get right to it, as opposed to going back and forth. I've been in situations where it might not be a back and forth. So reserve my thought, observe what people are saying, listen to what people are saying, read the room, and be able to give my point with intelligence and articulation. And that comes with a lot of, I guess, practice, talking to other like-minded people, talking to people that'll challenge your point, where you can't just get pissed off. And when I started to be able to approach people about how I feel about certain things, I feel like they screwed me, or they were maybe rude to me when they didn't have to be. Like, I picked up on a few things, and just that confrontation is very, you got to be very careful with that. Because number one, I found people don't like to be confronted. People don't like shit held up to them. They don't like being called out, even if they're wrong as shit. Yeah. People just don't like that. And it's kind of up to you for the way that you approach. I don't know if I believe in this bullshit. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. A little bit of both. because some things just need to be said. With that doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole at the same time. You could definitely say that and stuff, but I've become very comfortable expressing myself like that. And there's the other school of thought that I'm just being honest. I don't believe in that sort of shit.
Yeah.
It's based on intelligence, on focusing on the messages that you want to convey and doing it to the best of your ability to communicate with that person, not dominate, that conversation. So yes, I became very confident and comfortable with being able to do that.
Yeah, I part of why I don't think why it took me.
Cluck, cluck.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I wanted to leave that up there and let that sizzle in your spirit. But part of it's I don't know, like because like I've had to because of the way I look at my size, like like sharing your feelings was something that you just when you start talking to somebody,
right.
Like they need, like, people need, like, it's weird, like you think like I'm a human, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Getting pushed back a couple of times, maybe in my 20s or something like that, maybe made me a little like, that's not a thing. It's not a, I don't think I'm gonna do that because I don't really like how that felt or that response. But I just think like the fallout from me not doing that, I think that's what really propelled me to start just saying what's going on and being more comfortable with my feelings, is that you go, oh, like, all right, well, what's the worst that could happen if I just say how I feel about something, and then also too, when you like a nonchalant kind of, people feel comfortable around you, they tell you things, they say things. People didn't have a problem saying shit to me. It's like, wow, people ain't sparing my feelings. They ain't, what I'm saying? They just saying shit. So why the fuck am I not expressing how I feel and just letting the chips fall where they may? And let people, they gonna do with that. But it took me a long time. It took me probably like a slight mental health crisis to kind of really go, nah, I got to do something different because this is not working, and it actually is hurting me not doing it.
Okay, that's the part with me. I noticed that if you don't articulate yourself, if you don't assert yourself, other people create the narrative for you. And that's something that I hate, walking away from a conversation, or I hate even like a debate and stuff, thinking like, shit, I should have said that, or I should have said that. So I build on, besides being like completely neurotic to the point where it hurts me, like, fuck, should have said that, and you beat yourself up over whatever. Some of that is studying the past of like this kind of, oh man, me and a brother went at it the other night. He had a couple good points. Like, why didn't I think of that then? And then I have to go through the way that I thought of that. And now I got to prepare myself for next time with this extra ammunition. Like, if this pops up again.
Long as you ain't in the mirror. Next time, brother, get up on me. I'm gonna grab the mic and be like, yo, nah, you ain't doing. Long as you ain't doing that. Just
and be in the mirror. You talking to me? I don't see anybody out there, brother. You talking to me?
Yeah. Long as you but that's a good thing. That's like that's the other thing too. I learned, like, self-reflection is like really, really been important, because I do want to make sure that, it's because you can be honest with people and you can be open about your feelings, and depending where they are in their life and with themselves, they may interpret it as you trying to hurt them or you doing something wayward to them. And so I had to get around that fact, like, that's not what I meant. And like you said, clear, concise, like, communicate. You have to be able to communicate, and then even if you need to repeat yourself about how you feel about certain situations. But but I'm not at the point where I do it all the time, because I do feel that in some instances it's like, all right, saying this, is this, yeah, is this gonna, do I need to fight this battle at this particular point? And I probably don't. I might be able to eat that. If it's something that I don't think I'm going to eat, and I'm going to be beating myself up, if I'm going to be in the mirror, wait till next time, last call, wait till Friday at 9:00. I'm waiting to, as soon as you drop that link, if I'm doing all of that, then I got to get it off my chest. But if
already pacing back and forth.
Yeah. But if I can be like, you know what? He, you know what I'm saying? He got a bit of a point there. I could let that go. Then yeah, but I don't try to I won't hold it in, like you're saying. You got to get it out. And if you miss the point, you can go back and reflect on it. And
right.
So let me get to Clark's comment here.
Yes.
So what I see around here, men are the ones who talk way more than women. Sorry, especially the gossip. So that's a sidetrack, because last call did sidetrack. He did apologize for it. But that's the one thing that I have learned, especially on this internet, is that I don't want to hear men tell women be talking too much, women be doing this, and the men, the gossiping, the almost like cattiness. Could I just interject, because I hear what she's saying over there, but the truth of the matter is, man, and make it biblical, men don't gossip. Real men aren't about some gossip shit. You see what me and a brother of certain age doing right now? We are discussing, we are speaking. This is not no sort of gossip and stuff. I'm not putting down some other channels or some other individuals around the space and stuff, but you won't see me in spaces where dudes gossip. That ain't for me. The real men don't do that. So, I know what you're saying. You're just taking a little shot over there, Clark, and I appreciate it. And I know it's kind of like the thing, but I don't even put dudes like that on a serious level of, while you got real men here trying to problem solve, that's why they're not up here, because they rather do the gossip on some other dirt shit. Let's spread a little dirt around. It'll attract those type of people, but those aren't the people that are communicating. They're doing exactly that, gossiping. Real men aren't up in the gossip flow. So that's what I gotta say about that. You want me to tell you what I heard about last call?
That's sure, man. What did you hear about him, man? Did you hear about that bastard, man?
This thumbnail is actually
this is the new me down there now. First of all, I was gonna let's go to the thumbnail. Let's take a break right now for a second. You just got a God complex or some sort of shit. Look at it. Take my picture away. Just take the pictures away, just so you can hear me over here. Take the thing away. Just put it clear. Let's talk about this bullshit for a minute. Yeah.
Could I do it? This
dude, brother of a certain age, got a real God complex. First, look at the stance. First of all, he can't even stand like that anymore because his badass knees over there. He can't rely on one over the other. So we ain't gonna be doing that shit. And he's got like a Hulk type. Look at his shoulders, traps, the whole shit. This is like Thanos stance over here. On top of that, don't even think I missed the interpreted artistic. He's got the sun rays behind, like he is the sun. Like he's saying he's the creation of all the shit in the background, helping this little scrawny kid Cudi, who's supposed to be me. It's not supposed to be me. Somebody can take that or whatever. It's like Hercules came down from the heavens to scoop up Pookie from New Jack City on the street over here. So god damn.
Listen, man, if I got to save last call one time, I gotta save them all the time.
Thanks for pulling me out the dirt over there on cobblestone. What is that street even? It's not even a real street. These are a Philadelphia cobblestone street over there, man.
Just look behind me. You matter. You are enough. Your life has purpose. All right.
Somebody has a God complex. This is all I got to say about that. Like, oh, you should have a halo.
All right.
And on top, look at the fit. He has defined. He's got a chiseled jawline and cheekbones.
Look at me.
Look at this shit over here. This is superhero-esque.
Look at that. That's me, boy.
So a little liberal use of this AI. God damn.
So, I got to, add the little sauce on it.
Paying his membership worth. He's like, I'm doing all the effects.
Yeah, I mean, he does. Oh man, that's why I fuck with you. For real. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. I think we have given you enough to think about, enough to start the conversation. Again, my goal today wasn't to have solutions and the end all be all to the conversation, because we know that's not gonna happen anyway. My goal was to give you a little information. Last call was cool enough to grace the panel, so I appreciate that. And so the goal was to give some information and then have you be able to, if you know somebody in your life that may need or could use, just a little conversation with them, just to direct them to a community that may be able to help them, whether it's a church, teacher, mentor, football team, whatever, any kind of team, any kind of support group. Just look out for these young men. They are struggling right now. Again, the suicide rates of young Black men, this age is 20 to 24. It's up for all of us anyway. Let me just, it's up. I think, what did Vibrant put in here? What did she say? Okay, so CDC across genders, okay? Black Americans have seen overall suicide death rate climb 53% in a 10-year period, 10 times faster than white people. 53%. I know today was about young Black men, but we're going up. That's however if you play with the percentages, if you're not a percentage person, if you don't like those type of things, we're going up regardless. As a people, we are going up. And I'm not, I don't want anybody to go up, but as a people, we are going up. I think it's worth, having a conversation. Again, if I think she put my email. My email is in on my page as well. Y'all definitely share me out. I'm trying to get to 500 subs. Give me the 500 subs. This is my email right here. That Vibrant Love.
I'm surprised you're not at that 500 already. When I looked, you're so close, man.
Yeah, I got to put in the work though, bro. I can't go once a month and then expect people to like.
Right.
I got to do more than that. I understand I got to do more than that. So yeah, if y'all want to, in any conversation, in any of the lives, y'all can go back to my old podcast. I got a playlist of my old podcast with me and Candace. We were doing Love You to Life podcast. That's all audio. No video on that. I got that. Got the streamer skip. We're gonna do some more movie stuff. Yeah. So I'm doing other things. So if y'all want to go run up them numbers, run up that my watch time hours, or just find and I encourage you to do that and sub. Just because you can learn more about me. You see, I have a lot of different conversations. You look at the different people I've interviewed, and I got some more stuff coming down the line. My man Eddie, I was hoping he'd drop in here, man. He just a couple of months ago, he invited me to a studio, a place that he just got. He was making a podcast studio.
Okay.
And, he showed me his vision of what he wanted to do. Let me find this. Eddie. He showed me a visual his vision of what he wanted to do, and my man executed it. The sounds good. I mean, everything. I text him like, yo, my man. And he was podcasting years ago. He was doing Facebook Lives years ago.
Okay.
And just life happens, and he hadn't been able to really, but let me find this here. Just so you can get a little taste of what my man doing. I told him I want to do some I'm actually, because I've got this thing where I do I created this other thing like that's aside from the movie stuff, but I would call it Conversation with Friends, where I will have somebody that I'm actually cool with in real life that and come on and sit down, we'll chop game about other things. We'll get to what they'll have a reason to be there, but for the most part we're going to talk about all kinds of things. But I'm gonna have him on, and I also want to record in the studio. But let me pull up my man Eddie.
It's cool, man.
I was like super proud of dude, man, because he like talking about executing. Let's see. All right, let me add that to the stage.
Even when the doctors were like not really sure,
You
were like, no,
sounds good.
Figure it out,
He got different
and then you were intentional about, hey, I gotta.
Can you hear it?
My health.
Yeah. Good.
About, hey, I'm gonna stop eating gluten, and I'm gonna stop, eating meat.
So
you were intentional about, hey, I gotta fix, some relationships. You were intentional about, hey, I gotta release some relationships. You were very intentional in the things that you were doing, and I think that you would agree that intentionality is what has helped you kind of get to where you are now, and so
I wanted to see the camera transition.
Sometimes we just get stuck. We just can't get stuck. Just show how you become more of being intentional.
Yeah, so you got mics,
so the
you got
first
space.
thing I would say is definitely take an audit of your life.
Yeah, real studio.
If you don't like something, or like just think about it for a second, like even like write it down and just make a list on like, what is it that I don't like about my life right now or about myself? Like you have to be so like raw and like honest with yourself, like even if it's like so extremely like painful.
All right, so my man Eddie, I want to do a pod in his spot. He already told me I could do it, but anyway, a couple of months ago he showed me the space. He talked to me. He's like, I want white microphones, I want different camera angles. He showed me the space.
Wow.
And then he started, I want to say that was his first time doing it from there. He still does the remote things, but I really know some cool ass people. I got people that said they would do it, come on and do the Conversation with Friends series that I want to do, but I'm definitely gonna link up with him. But yeah, man, I was hoping he would stop in because I wanted to give him a shout out. He usually pops in, but yeah, man, I got some stuff I want to do. This was part of the reason why it was kind of hard for me to do this is because remember I talked to you, it's kind of heavy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to have more fun. I wanted to show more sides of myself, but you was like, hey man, you are who you are. You know what I'm saying? This is something you worked on. Do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to again thank you for encouraging me to do this. And I'm on my shit, man. I'm on my grind. I don't know if I'm gonna do every week like you at the same time, same bad channel, but
right.
I definitely am encouraged by people. I got a good group of people around me that's been encouraging me and telling me, hey man, when you go on live and stuff like that. So I want to
just don't leave them wondering, man.
Yeah. And definitely thank everybody for stopping in. Always get the same group of people. We're gonna grow it out for sure. It's just on me. I need to make sure that I'm doing the things that's necessary to grow the channel out, and I'm gonna take everybody along with me, and we're gonna have some fun. And why is Clark not modded up in my channel? I'm sorry.
Just before I jump down so you could do your exit and do your thing, man. Again, on the behalf of everybody, thanks for bringing this to the forefront, man. And I hope the takeaway today is that, everybody do what they're going to do, but just be a little bit better you. One of the questions I had from the past is, are we afraid to talk to our boys, to approach our young men, as a brother of a certain age, being a certain age, yourself, myself, we in uncles and dad modes and stuff like that too, that a lot of the times when I do see some nonsense out there, I do voice from an authoritative uh, 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 vantage point. Like, what are we doing out here? The other day I see a boy walking with his friends. He's just tearing shit off of building walls. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Then you're gonna make it hot around there, and you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna question my old ass for what you do. So don't do that. The young man looked at me like, all right, I could receive that, and walked away, not ruining anything and getting in trouble. Maybe thinking about it next time he walks down the block that I'm a more of a representative than just myself too. Yeah. So one of the thing is, step in, don't put yourself in harm's way. You don't have to do that. Nobody's asking for a hero like that, but put in that added guidance and advice where you can productively. And like we say, follow it up, make sure that you do your homework. Make sure if you suggest a book, you could get a book. You could suggest a book from an author and say, hey, you know what? You might like this now. This is about certain transitions of what you're going through in life or some of the things that you face. Maybe you should read this and we'll pick it up next time. It works even better if it's your son or your nephew, your godson or something like that. For their birthdays, I make sure certain birthdays in my family for the youth that they have, even if they don't have a whole library, then they have at least a little start of a library that we could start adding to, for each thing. Hey man, bought you this game, whatever it is. Also though, check out this book. And I'm going to be asking you about it every once in a while too. So just a few things maybe to look at. And everybody, man, should take away from this. Just be a little more open. It is crisis. Be open to what you're doing. Maybe be a little kinder. Be a little more assertive to, face the problems that we're facing out here too, all around the board. Thank you, brother of a certain age, man. Keep doing your stuff. And glad you did this today, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Always, you're always welcome. And, I will see you on Friday. I don't know. I might do something tomorrow. I don't know. I got this out the way, like pretty harmless. I'm not sweating. I did not cry. Like when I was doing the research, that's why I told you, I was like, I was doing the research, man. I was like, how am I going to get this out? Because this is emotional. But I looked at it as a more like a public service.
Sure.
As opposed to, like I had to depersonalize it a little bit and make it more of like, hey man, you're not doing this for you. You're doing this for somebody else. So, that's what really kind of I put on. Got a couple of things that I put on the radio before I started. But yeah. So yeah, man. Again, thanks for pushing me to do it. And I will see you around.
All right, folks. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you, thank you. See Friday at 9 p.m.
Oh yeah, hold on. When you go in the chat, I'm gonna hold off. I don't know what I'm gonna say, but go in the chat. Put your
all right, I'll do that.
Your link in the chat because we be over at Last Calls on Friday, man. Yeah. So yeah, let me go back over the places where you can look at these studies. You can go to CDC. National, let me see, CDC Control and Prevention. So the source is Youth Risk Behavior Survey, National Institute of Mental Health, Suicide Prevention Research, American Academy of Pediatrics. You can look up Youth Mental Health Policy Statements, the JED Foundation, that's JED Foundation, Protective Factors in Youth Mental Health, the Trevor the Trevor Project, Youth Mental Health and Crisis Prevention Research. And theirs is particularly for LGBTQ and youth with broader insights into protective factors. And then Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, that's SAMHSA, SAMHSA, and Community Prevention and Treatment Resources. So let me make sure that Mr. Last Call got his name in there. Yeah. All right. So listen, we talked about the increased rates and suicide amongst Black youth. We did focus on the boys, on the men this time, but it is a public service. It's a health risk, and it's an epidemic. It's epidemic proportions. You saw the 53% we up as a community on suicides. So the research shows that strong relationships and culturally responsive mental health care, early intervention, and supportive families and communities can significantly reduce the risk to help young people thrive. All right. With that, I will see y'all around. Thank y'all for hanging with me. As always, I appreciate y'all. All right, peace.
Yeah. Look. Invitation sent, sign still delivered, you got it, now welcome in. Engaging with the listener, a space for where you is. As we debate particulars, trying to build a bridge through conversation that's intimate. The mission is thought-provoking with words spoken. Bitter truth, not to sugarcoat it, just an openness, place on display. Wisdom in the words that he say, a part of just embracing every gray over here. No fear, clear, I'm unafraid. I'm much older, I no longer hold a child ways. Adults in the room, times past for playing games. Grown talk, isn't that the reason why you came? Simple and plain, delivery raw, straight to the chase. Better than before, learning from your yesterdays. Introducing insight, influence, be amazed by a brother of a certain age. Now rock with him.